The TRB Morning Drive, where we kickstart your day with a dose of freedom, firearms, and just the right amount of fun. Now grab your favorite liquid caffeine fix and buckle up. It's time to get this show on the road. Here's your host, Jason Schaller. You're tuned in.
Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. I tell you, I had one amazing weekend this weekend. It was great. I got to see some things that you just don't get to see. I got to see a a U.S. Army veteran. He was a 240 gunner. I got to see a smile like you couldn't even imagine. He never thought he would ever be able to shoot his favorite gun. Um, and I get to see that this weekend. This weekend, I got my hands on some trigger time from a 240 Bravo, also a 249 Saw. And top things off, it was Glock 18, sorry. So I had some belt fed therapy over the weekend. I got to shoot with some really amazing people. The one guy I've known for a couple of years, he brought along his buddy who was that 240 gunner. Um, and it's amazing when you get to see that face, right? That face of, I never thought I'd do this, or I never thought I'd ever do this again. And that was honestly the greatest feeling in the world. Um, and trust me, it didn't suck feeling my feeling. Trust me, when you get your hands on some trigger time with some full auto, it's pretty amazing, right? So I had a lot of fun with that 240 Bravo. I had a lot of fun with that 249 Saw. I got to see something interesting with the Saw, right? The Saw apparently I learned is not the most reliable weapon in the world, and I got to see remedial action, and then had to learn remedial action on the Saw. But it was fun, right? Even with the problems of that platform, it's great. But then I'll tell you, shooting a Glock 18, and this is a truly a Glock 18. We're not talking about a switched Glock or anything. This is it's kind of like riding a motorcycle, going out and getting a 1,000 cc motorcycle. I mean, it's just, you squeeze that trigger and that thing is just off to the races. So much fun this weekend. It was amazing. It was amazing time spending with these guys. I do want to thank um, my gun dealer. He's an SOT. He does a lot of stuff with law enforcement, and he made this happen. So it was such a great day. Um, let's talk a little bit about this. That was Saturday. Sunday was a personal milestone for me. The Smooth Operator, you guys have seen that rifle build. Um, we took that out to 735 yards over the weekend. So that's a 308. We're shooting 735. That was an important milestone because I did have someone who was a sniper in the military behind that rifle. On Saturday, we went to go get the zero, reconfirm zero, and that rifle was all over the place. And that's not what that rifle was. I've shot that thing before out to 400. It was just not right. Saturday night, brought it in, took it out of the chassis, barrel nut worked loose. Apparently I had a little bit of anti-seize underneath the barrel nut, and well, it lubricated the barrel nut. But yeah, we got that thing out to 735 on Sunday. So it was an amazing, amazing weekend. So it's just one of those times where you just don't get to do this stuff that often. And it was awesome. I got during that weekend. My buddy, he's in Oregon. He came out um, to do this stuff with us, and he was a sniper, and he brought a Winchester Model 94 that is his grandmom's. It went through a house fire. It was in parts. Someone tried doing some work to it, didn't do very well. He's like, "Look, man, I just need this rifle to be a wall hanger. I don't want it to be a shooter and all that stuff." Um, so I was trying to get that rifle back together before he left, and I did. So it was great to give him that rifle to take back to his grandmother. So it was kind of like a Field of Dreams weekend. I actually kind of said that, and he's like, I didn't expect you to get this thing done this weekend. And I'm like, it was pretty easy. So here you go. So kind of the whole thing about July for me, right? July is a lot. I call it Freedom Month. Over the past 6 months, actually a little over 6 months now, almost 8 months, I've been working on a lot of things and in my life, on the content, on the road banshee in general, and so we are solidly in Freedom Month here, being July. So let's talk a little bit about today. Today is International Joke Day. So, being International Joke Day, we're going to tell a joke. So, why don't skeletons fight each other? It's because they don't have the guts. Yeah, I know it's a bad joke, but I thought it was kind of funny, and kind of leads into what we're going to talk about today. Freedom takes guts, and we're in Freedom Month, and you know, kicking it off, we need to talk about a lot of stuff. So let's get to it here. So, Freedom Month in the Rogue Banshee here, this is not marketing. This is life. This is about personal challenge. It's about living. And I'll be honest with you, it's been tough. I launched the Rogue Banshee almost 8 years ago, and it was it was a way forward. I was an FFL at the time. During the time I gave up my FFL, and that, I'm not gonna lie, man, that was a tough day for me when I turned in my FFL. The day I decided to close the business was tough. It was really, really hard when I turned in that license. It was tough. Even now, trust me, I'm a little choked up even thinking about it. But anyways, it led me on to a new journey, right? It was just a stepping stone for the future. It's funny that the money I got from my last transfers were $20. The last 20, I had that last 20, and I used that for a firearm transfer to my new FFL, who just happened to make this past weekend even possible. So it's a journey. So we're in this together. We're going to go for a journey. I've gone through this concept I'm calling my comeback challenge. You've heard me talk about it before. It morphed into really my life. It's funny, I'm wearing my Freedom Crew University instructor shirt here, chief instructor. And when MGB sent me this shirt, I was a lot bigger than I am now. You've heard me talk about this on this. Originally this was about getting back into competition shooting. It was getting back into tighter. Well, they're not tighter fitting clothes anymore, but even more, I still got more tighter fitting clothes I got to get into. It's about freedom, right? It's about freedom mentally. It's about freedom in my body, because I've got a lot of injuries that you've heard me talk about, of working through those. I don't wear my knee braces all the time anymore. Trust me, that's a tough one. And my knees are shot. But I've been strengthening the legs and working through this. So it's about regaining that freedom. So I want you to think this month about your freedom. Freedom means a lot of things to a lot of people, but what does it mean to you? So, Freedom Month, I want you guys this month to just take stock in your life. What's going on in your life? What is happening? How are you? How are you working through things? Um, just take stock in your life and take control. Right? Get your hands on that wheel and take control. So one of the things I went through here, when I was going through my journey, is what what do I believe in, right? And it's easy to say you believe in this, that, and the other, but when you put it down on paper, it takes a little bit, and um, it wasn't as easy of an exercise as I thought it would be. Well, I believe in this and I believe in that, but what are my core values? So my core values are independence, self-reliance, critical thinking, action over words. That's a tough one for some people, right? And responsibility. Now, I've always believed in responsibility, taking responsibility for yourself, taking responsibility for your actions. Um, but when I came up with these things, these are tough ones. So these are going through my core values in life. They're also going through my core values at the road banshee. And we're working on content for that fits this, right? So you may have heard me talk about this. I don't know if I talked about this openly. We have the avatar of Joe. I created this avatar of Joe of who consumes TRB content. I did this a couple of years ago, and it's one of those things of the core values kind of came out of that, right? As I now, I know who my audience is, but what do I believe, right? I mean, I have an idea of what you guys believe, but what do I believe? But I also have, on top of these core values, I have these pillars, and the pillars are break free, question everything, think for yourself. And you guys have heard me talk about that one before, right? I've talked about statistics on the podcast, how statistics can be twisted, numbers can be reinterpreted. But think for yourself. Master self-reliance. Now, self-reliance means different things to different people. Some people think self-reliance means I'm going to go out and have 20 acres. I'm going to run cows and chickens and garden. But self-reliance is more than that. It means different things to different people. What about self-reliance in your own head? Kind of goes back to think for yourself as well. And also live free. But how do you live free? Again, that's very subjective. For me, it is in my head, right? It's thinking for myself. It's questioning things. It's realizing that, in a crisis, who can you count for? Who can you count? Who can you count on? And I know that sounds kind of weird, right? I mean, we're talking about self-reliance and live free, but yet, who can we count on? We can't completely be independent, right? Um, that's why when I created the Undependent podcast, which I'm long overdue for a podcast episode, but I've been working on all this other stuff. What do we do to be less dependent? That's why I called it undependent. Not un, it was not independent, or it's spelled weird, right? And it's spelled weird for a reason, because we're going to be less deep. We're not a dependent, right? It's as a child, your kids are dependents, so we want to be undependent. So I know it throws people off, but it's one of those things of that's just the way we need to live. We need to live less dependent on a system. We don't want to be a dependent of it. So, look, we got a bunch of people out there. Make sure you throw a comment out there so I know you're out there, and let's have a little bit of discussion on this as we go. Um, I know it is the Fourth of July week, but look, understand that what I'm talking about here, this is not just words. This is about an operating system. As I'm trying to get into things, see if I'm still live on a bunch of platforms, because you never know with the red platform there. Um, but think about this in your life. What is going on in your life? How can you be less dependent on a system? It starts somewhere, and you've got to just realize that is that's where it is. It's in your head. That's where you're truly independent. You're less dependent outside your head. Let's see here. I also want to talk a little bit about community. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about the community polls out there. And I asked a big one yesterday. And I've been wanting to ask this one for a while. I'm not going to lie. Let's see here. YouTube. So go out to youtube.com/theroguebanshee/community. And I want you to engage out in those polls. So what I asked here is there's a bunch of gunsmithing content that I can't post here because of policy, here being YouTube. Where would you actually go to see the full, no holds barred versions? Heads up, there's already more on my website than anywhere else. And I'm working on that. I'm working on the website. There's a lot of stuff going on. Joe, what is going on, brother? Joe is my my content creator brother there, now down in Florida, fortunately, from Massachusetts. He definitely migrated to being less dependent. Vanessa Kitty's out there. Vanessa, what is going on? So I can't show a lot of stuff on YouTube. I'm trying to work through some of that. There's some things I can show. There's things I have to reframe. I had a lot of big content taken down. Let's face it, I knew that was going to get taken down years ago. So 40% of you said my website, TRB.FYI, they would go there. 43% said Rumble. Exactly 0% of you said Locals, which that doesn't surprise me. Even that's a platform I don't have a whole lot of respect for. I know people are out there and they do it, but I don't know. It's a weird platform even for me. And 17% of you said email newsletter or direct updates. The problem I'm having here is how do you get that? How do you get that information, right? So I'm not going to lie, man. Rumble, as nice as it is having a platform that doesn't censor, it's awful to navigate. It's tough to find things. It's nice to get the updates in email, but I mean, honestly, most of them go to spam. And then comments on videos are, "Hey, you have great content. I can help you create." It's all the crap from people overseas trying to get me to buy their service to make my content better when they have, right. They can't even speak English. So if I do stuff to my website, which is currently in second place at 40%, how do you know to get there? That's where I kind of threw the email newsletter in there. It's a little bit of an unfair question, but I want to get your feel. And it definitely gave me the feel that Locals is just, probably people didn't even know what Locals are. So this month, you're going to see a lot of polls out there about the Rogue Banshee. This is a month that we're going to be polling the audience because we're talking about independence and freedom. How do we break free from a system that doesn't want us where we are? Let's face it. It's an unfriendly platform for the stuff that I do. So definitely go out there and speak your mind. Tell me, what you're looking for, or how you're looking for it, how you want it delivered. These are all questions we're going to be asking this month. We're trying to build that freedom flywheel. So let's see here. That brings us up to a little bit of, asking you guys, what are you doing this month? What does Freedom Month look like for you? How are you going to do that? So we got Michael George. TikTok or Instagram is more lenient than YouTube. Yeah, I'd argue that a little bit, um, because me having a lifetime ban on TikTok, they definitely threw the hammer down on me. I'm not gonna lie, I have that TikTok back. I just waited for them. They took it down. I waited a little bit and then re-registered it under another name, under another phone number, and they suppress that content really bad. Instagram flat out um, does throttle me, and if I go into my Instagram account, it'll go, "We cannot recommend your content." Honestly, I get more traction in YouTube than I do than than Instagram or TikTok. Joe agrees. He doesn't like TikTok very much. But yeah, it's tough. This is where we got to watch out for things. Um, I've talked a little bit about trading freedom for convenience. I'm not going to lie. There's going to be another short where we talk a little bit about it, coming out this week. And no, I'm not saying YouTube isn't. Yeah, it's not that YouTube is. Yeah, I'm going to bring this one up for everybody to see. No, it is. It's not a friendly platform. I've never. No, it's just not. Um, but yeah, you have a laugh. Although you are watching on YouTube right now, which is kind of funny. But yeah, no, YouTube is not a friendly platform. But I need to know where you guys would go for the content that you want that I can't put here. I will have a presence on YouTube, but it won't be the full presence like it used to be. Um, I was having the podcast, like the For the Love of Guns podcast. I was getting channel strikes on that podcast. And I was getting channel strikes talking about outdoor mentorship for women. So yeah, it's not the friendliest platform. So make sure you're going out to the community tab, engaging. It's community. This is where we want to talk about stuff. So let's engage. Let's talk. Let's see where we're going to go for the future. Also, it's weird to talk about it, but in July, I'm already thinking about SHOT Show. So we're coming up on uh, just over 6 months for SHOT Show, or soon we will be at the point where we are closer to the next SHOT Show than the last SHOT Show. So I'm going to be asking the audience a little bit about SHOT Show. It's what should I be looking at? This is why we're talking about this content now. What do you want to see? How do you want to see it? How do you want it presented? Where do you want it presented? So that way, when I get to SHOT Show and I start talking to companies about content, I can say, look, this is what the audience is looking for. Are you in for the ride? Let's do it. So make sure you're out there talking about it. So we're down to about 5 minutes before I head into the office. My Whereas a lot of people have a morning commute, like Joe is driving to work. My commute is in my head. I got to get mentally ready for my day. Since I just, the, my bed is like literally right above me here. Um, so think about this. What are you going to do this month to live free? Now, like I said before, freedom is different for everybody. What does your freedom look like? So make sure you're throwing it in the comments down below on the video, so that way we can have a discussion about it. Because freedom, I know I've said this a lot this podcast, but freedom is just different to everybody, and you might actually bring something up that somebody else didn't think of. So definitely think about that. Um, what is your goal? What are your goals for Freedom Month? My goals for Freedom Month is to really launch the whole mindset that I've been going through for over the past almost a year. My journey is starting to really kick off. So let's comment together. Let's talk about this all together and see what is happening in each other's lives and how we can help each other out. Look, it's freedom. Freedom. You've heard the thing, freedom isn't free. It costs something. And, generally we think about that in lives, right? I mean, we fought for a country. People have fought and died for this country. People have fought and been mutilated for this country. It's freedom isn't free, but freedom isn't free even for the civilians, right? Um, yes, we say we support our military, but how do you do that? We say we support our freedom, but how do you do that? Let's start this deeper discussion below. So, we have a Thursday show planned. It'll be the day before 4th of July. So I think it'll be an interesting show. So make sure you're checking that out. I'm getting ready to make the right-hand turn here into the parking garage of my day job and log in. So I hope the rest of you that are still on the road, you have a safe journey. And we will see you on Thursday for the pre-4th of July show. Take it easy.